Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 of Dr. Will's Straight to Tape with myself, Dr. Will O'Connor. I am a sports scientist, educator, and endurance athlete. So I like to use the straight to tape to just really go straight to tape, minimize the barriers for entry for me to have to try and think up videos and put in clips and all of that, and just really relay my experiences with you to help hopefully create faster athletes and more informed coaches. So today I want to talk about A and B races and trying to prepare for both of them. Generally, what these will be in my experience is like you've got your kind of big endurance event, like your marathon, kind of maybe an Olympic distance triathlon, all the way out to ultra and marathon. But before that, you want to bang out some fast stuff. You don't want to be, especially if you're a seasoned performer or like seasoned eventer, you want to get back to doing some fast stuff, stimulating kind of that competitive edge, which it's more those big events that they're you versus the clock or you versus you kind of thing. There's no head to head battles like there are in like a 5K, 10K, even a half marathon, a sprint distance triathlon or something. So I have right now next couple of weeks, next 3 weeks in a row, not I have three 10K races as part of the New Zealand road season. So you've got regionals, clubs, and nationals. And in 12 weeks, so about 3 months, I have the Auckland Marathon. That's the big event for this year. And obviously, a marathon and 10K, very different. One's 30 minutes, hopefully 30 minutes, hopefully 2.5 hours for me. So 5 times the distance. You train differently for each. And what I've realized is, there are specific ways in which you can train for your short-term races and your long-term races and be effective at both. The first thing is like when you're setting out your plan, what you want to do is put in your events into your calendar. So I'm showing you Training Peaks here for those just listening. You can visualize it in your head, but what you want to do is put in your key event, that A race. And so you can figure out how much time you've got, and then you can work backwards from there to, put in first off your taper, because that's important. And then that immediately, for most events, it's going to be at least 2 weeks of tapering. So that immediately removes 2 weeks of quote unquote training, or at least something you can gain physiological benefit from. That training's been done by that point. So you got kind of, now you've minimized 2 weeks. So now how much time have you got? Great. Whatever that is, now start to work in other events you'd like to do or short-term goals you'd like to target. So maybe there's a lead-in, like for me, this tentative lead-in half marathon. It's actually something I'm not going to do now. I've got a wedding. I've got some other races put in, so I've put these into my calendar, and now I know how it all looks, and now I can start to build my training around that, because there's no point even if you're just getting it off the shelf training plan, and there's all these long runs or these big Ironman based workouts over the weekend, but well, I've got a race on that weekend. I can't be doing all of this training, and I can't be this fatigued going into the weekend. So that's real important stuff to place into your plan. So first off, for me, within this block here, which I'll show you, is so what did I say? We're about 3 months out. So I'm in the if we go one, there's one. If we have 4 week blocks, generally is how I work. We've got one 4 week block which leads into the race. That's sort of if we've got race week, and then you've got 4 weeks back from that. Then there's 4 weeks back from that, so that's 8 weeks total, and then the 12 weeks, which I'm kind of just in at the moment. I have those 3 10Ks within that block, and I need to be preparing for the marathon, because that's my main end goal. So what's going to be most important there is going to be my long runs. Okay, so despite the fact that I have these short-term goals of wanting to run 10Ks really fast, so whatever that is, whatever that short-term goal is for you, if it's half marathon, sprint distance triathlon, if it's half trail races leading into an ultra, whatever that is, that's short term. You've got to think long term first. So long term first is marathon specific training. I need to be running 30Ks once a week in order to get the the muscular stamina and aerobic endurance to build towards the marathon. Now, because I'm getting close to wanting to bang out some real targeted marathon specific sessions, I want to be conditioned to be able to do those sessions. So within my marathon training, my marathon long run, I want to start to add some marathon specificity into it. So I'm doing that via progressive runs. So that is runs in which I did like on the weekend. I'll show it to you. It's so where is it? I did it here on a Friday. So it's a progressive run, 20 k's at aerobic pace. Just making sure nice and steady, nothing too drastic, building fatigue into the final 10 k's at marathon pace, and that all went pretty smoothly. I wrote on my Instagram about how my heart rate was definitely climbing too high. It went above zone 4. I think it touched on zone 5 within that 10k. So that's, I can take data from that, and that is super important for the end goal, because while I hit everything perfectly, my heart rate peaked out at 190, and that's far too high for a marathon. Maybe right at the very end, but within just a 30k run, then yeah, not good enough. So check out my Instagram if you want to have a look at my breakdown of that. But in terms of building, that's why I need that specific stuff before I get into my marathon targeted training. Where you got 2 by 10Ks, you got like 4 5K stuff, just the big hefty sessions. So within that, I've got those targeted marathon specific sessions that are progressing and building towards my end goal, and then how can I fit in my next goal? So that is short term. That's 10k. So that's this session here, which I did on the weekend, and it is, so this one's 2 by 2k with 3 by 1k. So all at zone 4-5 pace/pace power, and then I went 2 by 2k, 4 by 1k, and then I'll go 2 by 2k, 5 by 1k. So building up to 9k's at my targeted 10k pace. Maybe a little bit faster, who knows? See how the session goes. But so I've got these two kind of, not necessarily contrasting, but at least polarizing sessions. And they are my targets. I've got short-term target, I've got long-term target, and they both have specificity, but they also both hugely demanding. So what you want to do then is put those into your plan so that they are separated with enough recovery that you can target both really well. And you got to think about, well, how much recovery do I want, do I need before a speed, and how much do I need before a marathon specific session? For me, I like to carry in quite a bit of fatigue into my marathon specific sessions because I'm trying to emulate running a marathon at pace, 42.2 Ks, and most of my sessions are going to be 30, 35 Ks. So there's still, you want to carry in a bit of fatigue to have a realistic representation of what you're going to be able to do on race day, rather than coming in super fresh, smashing it out and thinking, yeah, this is directly comparable to what I can hold for non-stop 42.2 when you've done, a broken 25 to 30k session with recoveries in it. So I want to carry a bit in, and then, but for the speed, I don't want any. I don't want any fatigue coming into that. So I got to make sure that session is I'm fresh for that one, so I can actually run at pace. There's no point trying to stimulate threshold when you're running 20 seconds per K slower than what you want to do in the race. So I've got that, put those sessions in, make sure they're targeted, but always thinking, okay, so, you've got your whatever specific session for your short-term goal, and you've got your long-term goal. That is still the main goal. So if you can bang out, a speed session or a 1 hour to 90-minute session, but then you get into your big meaty like 2 to 3 hour session, generally at the weekend, and you can't do it, well, that's not good enough, because that is taking away from your end goal and it's becoming too short-term focus. What that means is it's a red flag. It's a red flag that you're building fatigue too much. Your end goal's not going to be realistic. And whatever other training you're doing is not complementing those 2 sessions. So either you need to rethink your short-term goal, so because it's not aligning with your long-term goal, or you need to rethink the other training you're doing. And for me, I just want to make sure I'm running. I'm out there running almost every day, and that I can target those 2 sessions. So I want to continue to develop aerobically. I want to develop my muscular endurance. I want to develop stamina, which is something that I haven't done so well in the past, because I have been a bit relaxed in my aerobic runs. So what I've done recently is added this Tuesday morning grind, and that's just it's not always it's just an up tempo, and you could call it gray zone. You definitely could training, but as I was just writing in a recent article about gray zone training, it's gray zone when it has no plan. Gray zone is that zone 3, that marathon kind of like bottom end marathon, kind of fast, kind of slow, gives you a good Strava pace upload. That intensity with no plan is gray zone. When it's set within your plan, and it fits, and it's got recovery, it's got lead, and it's got differentiation and pace between zone 2 and zone 3, then it's targeted. Maybe I'm just justifying myself, but I'm seeing great return on investment with these sessions. So what you're looking at here is so I run to power, absolutely love power. If you check out all my other like blogs and stuff and podcasts that I've done on power, and the ones that I've done for other people as well, including Training Peaks Coach Cast with Dirk Friel, which I just did recently, and that was super fun. You can see I've just lifted the intensity here for it's about an hour, like I want to target. And you can see heart rate's increased if you're looking. So I'll lift my heart rate up to, if I show zones, like it's not always zone 3, but it just sits within zone 3. And what I'm targeting there is I'm just pushing on the hills. So previously, when I've done a lot of my aerobic training and my longer training, I've really chilled out on the hills, made sure I've kept my heart rate low and just enjoyed my run. And I've probably done that too much for the amount of time that I've had available. So I'm running like around 100 Ks a week. So what's that, like 60 miles, I think? And then lifting it up, to maybe 120, 80 miles or something like that per week. So I don't have the 160 Ks or the 100 miles in my legs or time available to build that fatigue and build that stimulus aerobically and in a relaxed manner. I just don't have the time. So I need to find this middle ground where I can kind of force a bit of intensity in there without developing too much fatigue, creating an injury risk, creating burnout, and taking away from my other sessions. So what I've done is I've done a 20K session, and I've just lifted for an hour, about 15Ks worth, my intensity, just to make sure that I'm getting a good bang for buck, return on investment, and I'm getting good strength stimulus when I'm running these hills. So I do it over undulating terrain. So anyone who's trained with me, you've got the 30 to 60 minute undulating tempo run, which is amazing for power, because power is going to give you a great return on your actual intensity, whereas if you're using pace, heart rate is also amazing when you're doing steady state stuff. So what I want to talk about, I guess, is situating those A and B races. Short term, you got that short term goal, but it's got to have a long term focus. So first off, everything's long term. So for me, if we're looking at we cut back to my training week, we've got Monday, that's easy generally, just whatever, making sure I'm getting it done. Tuesday, I've got this specific run. Wednesday, I've got I'll generally try and run up to the office and back. And then I've got a rest day in there. This one was a little different because I was away for the weekend. So it was my birthday. So that's why it says birthday 33. I turned 33. So I did that on, because I had a day off and did that run, easy run. So I've got these two specific sessions. I've got kind of a third semi-specific, but I just don't like the weekend, the week just been. I actually didn't do it. I just ran for an hour easy because I was too cooked and I knew I had to target the session. If you're watching this like live, I guess the session I did last night, which is the 2x2K, 4x1K, which I nailed because I knew I needed to be fresh for that. And tomorrow it says birthday. It's just a copy paste for my marathon specific stuff. So if I can't get this marathon specific stuff done tomorrow, it shows for some reason, whatever it was last week, or as the shorter recovery periods between some of my sessions, I've carried too much fatigue and I'm taking away from that long-term focus, and I need to revise what I'm going to be doing these next 3 weeks with these races, because if these 3 races become the focus, they're going to take away from my ability to be running long. And if I can't run long, I can't prepare for the marathon. And before I know it, I'll be 7 weeks out, which is with the recovery, with the taper. Sorry, it's 5 weeks of training. And even then, how much stimulus are you going to get out of 3 weeks out? And yeah, so now I've got to, how much conditioning am I carrying into those main sessions? So it's really, all right, work backwards from that end goal, put in all the other races, have that short-term focus, find the sessions that work, find the week that works for you, make sure there's recovery in there, make sure that A session, that main race session, is getting the priority it deserves, and you're not getting too short-term focused, and really revise those short-term goals if they're taking away from that long-term goal. And then within the wider structure, I mean, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. Do what works for you. Reach out to me, listen to some of my podcasts, Performance Advantage podcasts that I've done with Matt Miller, look at my blogs, look at my training plans. There's lots of information out there on how you can skin a cat, so just get into it. But the main thing is, keep that long-term focus without getting too priority on the short term. All right, guys, that's me for today. Until next time, I'll catch you later. Enjoy your training and check me out on socials. Links all in the description below if you're watching this. If you're listening, I hope it comes across all right. There's many episodes. Check out Performance Advantage podcast. All right, guys, that'll do. Catch you later.